Welcome to the Guardian Know Your Basics guide. Today I'm going to be talking about two different things, the first of which is playing as a tank and the second of which is the DPS rotation. Of course, whilst playing as a tank, there's no DPS rotation involved because you're there to keep your party alive and to support them, not to actually do any damage because you probably in tank gear aren't doing any of that whatsoever. Obviously, it's worth noting you need to be on your left spec because this is going to give you a skill called Aegis. Now this is your most versatile and useful skill as a tank guardian. What it does is it basically makes you and your party immune to damage. Not literally, but it's very close to it. The two times when it's very useful to actually cast this is when you see a carpet that's going to come in and kill your party, or at very least do a lot of damage to it. The other time is when you're trying to pull a lot of mobs. If you happen to go into Aqua or Landing of the Sky Dragon or some dungeon that hurts a lot, you can walk in and then press Roar and then Ares Aegis to stop them immediately killing you. If you are scared that they're going to one-hit you as you press Roar, then feel free to Ares Aegis first, but it does mean that the buff's going to run out very quickly. The next piece of kit you have is going to be Phalanx, or Revitalizing Wall of the Mastery. Just make sure this is always up. You need to make sure you cap speed because if you don't, like I don't right now, then it's not going to be 20-second cooldown, which means that it won't always be up. This is very important because it is essentially the thing that makes you extremely tanky. You get 30% damage taken, and you also get a 4k flat and a further 5k, I believe it is, yeah, 5.6 from your spec. Now taking 9-10k less damage per hit is absolutely huge. As well, the damage taken adds towards getting to whatever cap you need for your current dungeon. On top of this, we also have Shield Bash. Now this is basically a permanent stun if you cast it off cooldown. It's very good for groups of mobs because you can keep them permanently stunned. And in between, you can use Sword Slash for the other damage taken reduction. Okay, the final thing is obviously trying to keep aggro. Whilst this isn't super important on bosses very often, sometimes in Aqua it is nice so that your DPS doesn't just keel over and die. In order to try and maximize the aggro, of course you want to be using Thundercut if you can, because of course the Shield Bash won't stun the bosses over and over again, so you just rotate between Shield Bash and Thundercut. And the other thing is pressing Roar. Now Roar of course debuffs bosses, but what it also does is it resets aggro of your party, which means whatever aggro you've built up stays, but theirs does not. Very useful for continuously keeping or pulling aggro back off a high DPS character. The one final emergency button you have is called Absolute Defense. There's two reasons you don't often use this. The first of which is it is the laggiest skill in the entire game, and oh my goodness, my frames do not like this skill. Second of which is it can lose you aggro of mobs occasionally. Now, this isn't necessarily a big problem all the time, but if you are running with someone squishy, even one hit, especially in Aqua, is really going to kill them. But if you are happening to die, or you do need to pull mobs because you messed up a little bit, then you can press it and it's going to help. The other use it has is if someone is standing behind you when you're fighting a boss, say in NSOET, and the boss casts a line carpet, you can just press it and you're going to block it for the person that's behind you, so they will be safe. Welcome to the DPS rotation for Guardian. There is one thing outside the rotation you need to pay attention to. This is going to be your Shield Bash. Because it only works when you stun a boss, you only can use this once every 30 seconds, so it's worth using whenever the debuffs have applied to the boss. I'm not going to throw it into the rotation because it's basically up to your discretion when you think it's best to use it. Okay, so the rotation is going to be Sword Slash, Thundercut, Bolt of Justice, Thundercut, Roar, Thundercut, Bolt of Justice, Thundercut, and then back to the beginning. Now essentially what I've done here is I've used Bolt of Justice off cooldown, I've used Thundercut off cooldown, and then I've rotated Sword Slash or Terrifying Roar in the gap between. So I'll do it again. Sword Slash, and then you do this Thundercut Bolt of Justice Thundercut thing, and then you do the Terrifying Roar, and then you do the Thundercut Bolt of Justice Thundercut. And then you're back to the beginning so you can use Sword Slash again, okay? So like I say, it's rotating Sword Slash and Terrifying Roars in between your Thundercut Bolt of Justice Thundercut combo. That's about it for this. Thanks for watching, and I will speak to you next time.